Hey guys, welcome back. We're just now set up for Zojalyx's any % Spider-Man run. I know I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are. Some things to look out for. He's been running this for the last few days, just over and over, working on some sections that he's been kind of struggling with. He's been talking about just like grinding and hopefully not falling on his web swinging. One of the things is he's got to really stay high to keep momentum up and just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's all about what speedrunning is, just don't stop. A lot of times you'll see him during like the boss fights. He'll get out web fist and he'll be doing a kick punch combo. Just keep an eye out for that. That's about all I got to say before pregame. I hope you guys are excited like I just said, and we'll give it away for Zojalyx.
I'm Zojalyx, really psyched to be here, as I just covered my face with my hand. But we're going to go ahead and give a countdown from 5, and we'll get started. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So one of the ways, as Bonetooth mentioned, I'm going to have to keep my momentum up. And so the way I'm going to have to do that is I actually am going to be canceling my swing and starting a new one right away early on. So I do that by, so normally, rather than having like a standard like, double jump button to make my swing happen, I actually push X and then R2 to swing. And once I push X again, it will actually cancel my swing and will allow me to carry my momentum forward. And I do that specifically by, I cancel my swing before my momentum drops, which allows it to carry through onto the next swing and keep going. So another thing too about this run is it's no skips. So the community was going to name this glitchless, but the game is so glitched and broken on its own that calling it glitchless is impossible, because it is impossible to get a 100% glitchless run. And so I'm going to be trying to clear out these enemies quickly, which
that's the last one.
Really well. And what I did is
still all right.
I'm going to be calling them my impact webs, or what basically that's just me shooting web balls. And then I used a web dome to clear out like 3 enemies and send them off the cliff, which you guys didn't even see. So this level is the only one that's sort of got like
I hope they don't mind if I make a quick deposit.
There's not really a skip, I guess. This is a no skip thing. But it does have like a cutscene override that you can do that they never ruled it illegal yet, so we're gonna try it here, and I didn't get it. So it's pretty close to frame perfect. I don't know like how what the precise timing is, but it's fairly close to frame perfect. So it's about a 10-second time loss.
My compass can show me the way to the next floor. Gotta get there quick. Well, going down.
So the main form of movement you're seeing me do, it's called I'm pushing my swing button on the ground, which allows me to zip over to the walls, and then I cancel that with a jump button to allow myself to drop to the ground before sticking onto the wall. Because every time that I stick onto the wall, that's like an extra second that I have to take to get myself unstuck.
Oh, thank you, Spider-Man.
Mind if I drop in?
Smaller, just henchmen, you can call them. It's with the impact webs, as long as he picks up, majority of the time it's just like first hit death, and you can just keep going on. So that's why you'll see him do that a lot of times. Just a lot quicker pace to keep going through.
So in this level as well, you wouldn't.
The robbers have been taken care of, but what can I do about the bomb?
Think,
Spidey, think!
And open that door where one guy was like, "What's going on out here?" You can't advance the level without knocking out all the henchmen.
Big save.
And also, as you can see, this is a bomb that we're just picking up and throwing. Because
no big deal.
What else would you do with a bomb? Just pick it up and throw it.
Face squeezing through a door like nothing.
Exactly.
Not this time, guys.
So that was kind of the end of like the get to the bank arc is what it's specifically called, and like the bank robbery, which really does nothing except give a good intro to controls. And now we're getting into the Scorpion arc, which so J. Jonah Jameson, as we all would know, the most the jerk who just thinks we're nothing but a menace, is getting attacked by Scorpion.
But we're gonna save him anyways. Spider-Man.
You Spider-Man! And so this level, as you see up in the corner, there's this little scorpion head that's like moving towards Jameson. And if that scorpion head, gets to Jameson before we do, we fail the level. But since we're speedrunners and we know how to go fast, that meter is obsolete.
So, just a second ago, you saw he pulled up crosshairs and pointed them at the building. There, he was using targeting webbing, which actually makes it just more accurate. It's a little more slow to do that, but if he takes a chance and slings his web over to the building and he misses, it's a huge time loss. So here's that kick, punch combo. If he avoids getting hit by Scorpion, he can avoid actually cutscenes. And actually right now, it's all RNG based whether or not he gets a cutscene, because that was
perfect RNG right there. Holy cow.
So usually there, if he gets hit by Scorpion, it's all RNG based whether or not Jameson runs out of the room and hides. And if that happens, there's actually a cutscene that Scorpion comes out, breaks out, and starts looking for Jameson again.
So there's this section of levels here that's the police chopper chase. It requires a lot of like precise swing chains that I'm gonna have to focus on. So I'm gonna go ahead and let my good boy Bone Tooth take over on commentary, just so that way I can focus on making sure that I don't die.
Yeah, so as he was talking before, a lot of times he's got to cancel a swing and swing again. And that makes it really difficult, but also keeps it so he's going fast. Why it's difficult is if he doesn't time it perfectly and he cancels his swing for too long, he gets so low that he has to spend so much time just sitting here wall climbing. And wall climbing is so slower. And he landed that perfectly. A lot of times he'll go to swing straight up, and if you do it too early or too late, especially too early, it's a huge time loss, and you're just sitting there like an idiot slinging webs nowhere. So. Right now, Chopper's still trying to get him. It's just a lot of wall climbing. Again, perfect time, swinging straight up. Should be able to hit the top of the building here. Just in time. Good job. So once again, going and swinging away from the helicopter. Here, he's kind of going to stay with the buildings, but not necessarily, like, go on them. But that's just so then, like you see here, now he's got a wall climb just to get that height back up. And then he's going to swing as long as he can while he's still high. And so as long as he can keep height above the smoke or gas or whatever you want to call it, he can keep swinging. He's just going to keep avoiding the enemies because there's no point on actually fighting the enemies. Here, each of those little crates hanging down, if he lands on them, it's like a 4 or 5 second time loss that the helicopter actually shoots the crate down, and then he has to start swinging again, and it's every single time it's cutscene. So that was actually a very smooth run for swinging from those choppers there.
Enough with the shooting already.
So here he's going to be jumping up and looking away from the bar and trying to swing back into it, and just making it straight to the top. So far, fairly smooth.
How tall is this thing?
It's fairly tall, Spider-Man. Fairly tall. Looks like he made it up to the top anyway. He's going to get on top of this crane here. So once again, as long as he can avoid that crate. Oh, there it is. Shoots it down. Never mind. This is the wrong crate. This is one that finishes the level. Very smooth run. Good job, Zojalyx. Like you said, there's quite a few levels here where he's just running away from the helicopters. So he's got to stay focused, keep doing his swing cancels. So far, so good. Once again, I'm going to point out that usually if you're just doing like a vanilla run, you'd be swinging just from top of the building to top of the building and staying as high as possible and usually fighting all the enemies that are on top of the building. But of course, we're speedrunners. We don't do that. We avoid as many conflicts as possible. So here, I am always trying to convince him just to kitty corner and go straight to the building. And he's always telling me it's too low. So there was fairly quick. Really good pace so far. Moving on to the Rhino Fight now.
The Rhino Fight's interesting because we use the same combo as Scorpion, but because Rhino is a big boy, we actually have to use push this neutral triangle to use a little bit of trap webbing to kind of stick him for like 2 seconds, which then allows us to use the combo. Oh, I punched too early there.
Yeah, if he messes up just slightly or doesn't do the constrained webbing, then Rhino gets a punch in, and it's about a 1.5 seconds loss every single time he gets hit. Fairly quick Rhino fight.
All things considered, that was a pretty good fight. So this next level, Catch Venom, is kind of interesting because
The best.
like a week ago or something, I was just kind of messing around and practicing and getting ready. And I've found a new swing canceling route, but the problem is it's so fast. Like in this one, if the Venom meter gets too far away from you at the top, if like Spider-Man gets too far away from the Venom meter, you actually will fail the level. And this route that I do here, it's the fastest route, but as you can see, I'm getting away from the meter. I'm getting away from Venom. And so I actually have to take this part right here slower to allow for Venom to catch up. Because there are a couple of triggers here where you're going to hear Venom tell me to quit slacking even though I'm going faster than him. And I'm actually going to sit and wait right here for Venom to come across and jump.
And he got it.
And if I actually didn't do that at the right time, I would fail the level. And so I'm going to go ahead and be quiet so you guys can enjoy the beauty of this cutscene, and we're hoping for good RNG.
Watch that first step, partner. It's a doozy.
Oh, toe, ow.
And that's good RNG right there.
Look out, lady.
There's all kinds of phrases that he could have said there, and that is by far the best.
So here's a random glitch. Nobody knows why it happens, but for some reason, rather than just jump across and follow Venom, Spider-Man decides, you know what? I'm just going to jump on the wall because reasons. Oh, jeez. I didn't start swinging fast enough there.
So here once again, doing the web canceling, just hoping to keep going faster. This time he's going to follow Venom's route a little more than before. Just because it's a lot higher, and here he's going to kitty corner, get just one step ahead of him, and then follow him to the next building. A little slip up to the bottom of the building, not a huge time loss, but here he's actually going to go down, and he's going to be fighting Venom, and all of the Venom fights are just majorly RNG based. He's going to be getting his fight combo, and then Venom will disappear and reappear somewhere. So it's all RNG based when and where he spawns, whether or not it's a fast or slow fight. So he gets one combo in, So far, so good. 2 spawns right in front of him that he just has to take a step and start punching again. Really good RNG that fight. Really good. So far, we're doing phenomenally with RNG just this run. And with a lot of speedrunning games, RNG is either your best friend or your worst enemy. And when we're saying RNG, for those who are kind of new to speedrunning, it's called a random number generator, and it's like the random things that can happen in the game. So games are all coded and made by numbers, so it's whether or not things happen or things don't happen. So there, Venom could have spawned behind him, and he would have had to take an extra half a second to turn around and take a few steps. There, it worked out perfectly that he was always just in front of him, and he could just take a few steps and punch Venom. Smooth fight.
So these lizards, they're the best enemies, and the reason for that is their coded phrases consist of burping, bleh, bleh, and like a horrifying like banshee scream, but I'm not gonna do that in the mic for the sake of all of you people wearing headphones and for everybody that's in the audience right now.
So, for those of you who don't know, a while ago his suit changed colors, and we didn't really talk about that. He actually grabbed Spidey armor, which gives him an extra health meter, and that doesn't really come in handy yet. That'll come in handy here soon. He's about to get onto a subway portion of the run, and you'll see why the Spidey armor is going to come in handy there. So these ones just skipping through those lizards, getting ahead, and here's the subway.
So we're in the subway now, and this is where the Spidey armor comes in handy because the subway itself is an auto-scroller. It's a little bit short of 3 minutes, but to make this auto-scroller go by a little bit like nice, which that was kind of rude.
Got it.
But we're gonna put ourselves in this position, and that's
Take a
all
nap.
we have to do, so we can take a nap for about a good 3 minutes. Because these guys won't touch it. They'll get a couple of hits in here and there, but as long as I stay in this position with my Spidey armor, I shouldn't die. And the reason why I put myself in this position is because what happens is, in this position, they're going to be, like, as you can see, the health pickups are coming by, and then there are also web cartridges that are going to be coming by. And up in, like, the top left corner there is the web cartridge meter. And if that runs out, I can't use any webbing whatsoever. And so there has to be a little bit of web management in order to be able to move as fast as possible, because as a web slinger, if we can't use webs, we're kind of stuck. So by putting ourselves in this position right here, it allows us to be able to refill up on web. We'll actually be totally maxed out on web, and that will help to add a lot of safety. Sometimes, if I'm not able to put myself in the right position or I miss the Spidey armor, I will actually have to sit and just jump for the entire 3 minutes. I won't get hit. I'll get hit a lot less, but I also run a risk of not having nearly as much webbing, which can then become a huge time loss later on in the run. I've never had a run where I've run out of webbing, so I'm hoping that that streak continues. But as you can see, we pick up one more cartridge, and it will just fill up that little meter right there, right to the end, and then we're full on web, and we're good to go. We've still got like a minute left of the auto-scroller. Yeah. But as you can see, I could just set my controller down on the table, and nothing happens. In fact, I might not even lose my Spidey armor on this, which that'll be a first, so. That's nice to know.
Getting really good RNG this run.
I'm not gonna complain. All right, so the meter, we've reached the end of the subway. Now we've got like 9 seconds to wait for the end of the level.
I'm already at full health.
So this game was actually made before the Tobey Maguire movies, and this is all based on like the comic book Spider-Man. And so it's all a ton of different enemies from the comic books. So like you've seen so far, you've seen Scorpion, you've seen Venom, you've seen Rhino, you get like Mysterio and Carnage and people like that. People that you haven't necessarily seen in the movies so far, but are very popular in the comic books.
I'm already at full health.
And you kind of get to see like a little like mock of the lizard through these lizard enemies. It's kind of like what they are is like the mutant lizards from his experiments. So
Yeah. Also, another thing about this game that you don't really see in Zojalyx Run here is you can collect and wear different spider outfits. And a lot of times those actually give you different benefits and help you throughout the game. Now, when doing it in an any percent run, you're just running it through as fast as possible, so you're not going to take time to change what outfit you're wearing to make the run faster or slower. And there are other speed runs wearing the different outfits, and you can do a completely different race wearing different outfits.
yeah, like for some reason one of the outfits gives you like a cloak. Oh boy. And so like, which would come in really handy for like this level because then the lizards don't even touch you. Oh, I didn't get grabbed there. Wow. That's really good RNG.
So here a lot of times you're going to see him swinging and then once again canceling his swing. And here it's not necessarily to keep going faster, but it's also to prevent him from sticking to the wall at the end of the end of the pathway there. If he sticks to the wall, it's about a second or two time loss every single time. So this run is all about those just little mechanics that keep you from the very minor time losses, not necessarily major time losses.
Feels like trouble's coming.
So another thing too to note is the reason I'm going through and hitting these switches, and actually if I were, which now it's not going to happen, but if I were to fall,
You fell.
if I were to get hit like while I was over that little grating there before I hit the second to last switch, I could actually have fallen into the water and be killed. And I actually had a run that was on like a really solid like minus 30-second world record pace, and it was just like, nope, JK, you're gonna die because the lizards are gonna spit on me and make me fall to my death. So this section of the level at least is kind of like, it's kind of an auto-scroller, kind of not. The water here is cycles. As you can see, there's like a little dark line right there. And the water will raise up to precisely that line at a certain cycle. And because of that, I have to sit and kind of wait for it to pass. And then once it lowers, I can go again. And the cycles are super easy to hit, that you're able to do it as if it's an auto-scroller. As long as you don't like spend 20 minutes fighting lizards. And then the rest of this level is just some more swinging to get to switches to finish it up. So I guess I should answer the question as to why the heck does Venom come in? Well, right before we went to fight Rhino, we actually were informed that Venom kidnapped our wife, Mary Jane, as the most iconic character, iconic damsel in distress, you would say.
Where are
And
you?
Venom kidnapped her because he doesn't like us. And so we're going to go save her because we're Spider-Man. And we actually went to Rhino first while Rhino was having his little rampage because we're a good person and we use our powers to help other people before ourselves.
But avoid every lizard because they don't matter.
No, lizards don't matter. They just stay in the sewers where they belong. Wait, that might be wrong. I don't know. Lizards are cool, but they're not mutant ones that try to eat your family. Ah, dang it.
See there, that's where he fell in the water. Not, it's about 5-6 second time loss there, but not as bad since he just made it through that checkpoint there.
So there's a mechanic that you can do where if you time it right, you can actually get 2 zips across before you're doomed to crawling for a while. But since I fell, I wasn't able to, but I mistimed it and wasn't able to get there on time. And the reason I do that is it helps to make these cycles for these like compactor things a little bit nicer. But since I missed that cycle, since I didn't get that mechanic, and like I didn't go for it this time just for safety's sake, I didn't want to sit and spend a bunch of time doing it. The cycles are going to be a little bit more mean. But I've actually never had this armor at this point in time, so I don't really know. As like, because if I were to, I know I can get hit at least once without the Spidey armor, and my health will go down fairly low, but I won't die. But I don't know how that works with the Spidey armor. It still brought me down fairly low, but it's a good thing. This is the last compactor that we're going to be crawling through. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Spidey armor, but it's gone now, never to be seen again.
Sad. It's alright. Regular Spider-Man suit is way cooler anyways.
You right, you right.
Send the spider to the smaller spider.
So now we're in the last Venom fight. And if you thought the first Venom fight was RNG heavy, this one is even worse. Because we're at a significantly bigger area, which gives... There are 4 based spawn locations for Venom. They're like here, up there, over there, and up there. Those are the 4 spots he can spawn. But if he doesn't spawn in the right spots, that's like 5 or 6 seconds. And he didn't spawn in the right spot, but I was able to get the jump kick, so that helps a lot. Hopefully he continues to cooperate. Nice!
Sometimes Venom actually, if you don't get to him fast enough, he'll actually just take off running, and it's like a 3-second time loss every single time he does it. That's why you want to see him, you'll see Zojalyx jump straight towards Venom as soon as he sees him because he doesn't want to take off running.
Yeah, and as far as RNG goes, that fight went perfectly. Well, and it wasn't perfect RNG, but I was able to make up for it pretty good. So now what we've got going on here is the basis of the game is Dr. Otto Octavius is like a reformed person, no longer crazy mad scientist supervillain. And he created this thing that kind of works like the arc reactor from Iron Man's arc reactor. It's just sort of like this self-sustaining energy thing. But an imposter of Spider-Man stole it. That's why we were being chased by police choppers. And then, and Venom actually kidnapped our wife to try and draw us out so he could capture us for capturing the device, because Venom's a good guy? Question mark. So now that we beat the schnoz out of Venom, we were able to explain to Venom that we were framed, and now we cleared our name, at least with Venom.
Ah, the elevator started again.
And now that we've cleared our name with Venom, we are invading the Daily Bugle to try and look at its records. But when we get there, there's symbiotes in the Daily Bugle.
So here, instead of just riding the elevator down, which is actually really slow, he was just jumping down onto the symbiote and then fighting off whatever was down there and pressing the button ahead of time so that the elevator never really had to stop. And so he was able to
There's one down.
just keep going, and it's a huge time save whenever he does that.
Just one more.
So here he's clearing out the generators to get rid of the symbiote once and hopefully for all.
Bet there are more downstairs.
Cool. One thing I've learned too is sometimes that giant steel roll that tries to kill us, if it for some reason sometimes it'll just soft lock the game. Don't know why, but it can soft lock the game, and it's pure RNG for the soft lock.
And thankfully, so far, RNG's been our friend today.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Wait, what was that I see? Was that another Spider-Man?
That's cool. It's a dry heat.
Oh boy.
Whoa, where'd he come from?
So normally you'd try to get around that guy, but because he can just be a huge pain, I just decided, you know what, we're gonna make like symbiote pudding, because that just works out easier.
Another video game thing I want to try sometime.
Symbiote pudding.
Yeah.
I bet it.
How would you
tastes
make
like-
symbiote pudding?
I'd say just melt bubble gum.
Just melt bubble gum.
Frame me.
Take like
I'm the one who stole
2
the
cups
technology.
full of double bubble gum and melt it.
That's so much bubble gum.
Add some gelatin. And stick it in the fridge.
So much bubble gum.
I don't know. That's just the theory. So we've got the Mysterio fight. And this is one of those fights where it will cooperate if it chooses to.
Rolling conduits look like the source of his power.
The
Once
first
again, all
phase
RNG based.
of the Mysterio fight, super nice. It's the second phase where sometimes he can be a pill. Actually, majority of the time he's a pill.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to hit his little conduit thingies
Burst your bubble, Mysterio.
with my impact webs. But sometimes Mysterio's like, JK, you don't get to hit us. Which,
That was a
that
very good
was
Mysterio
so
run.
good. Oh my gosh.
Very good Mysterio run.
Right now you're thinking,
I haven't had that good of a Mysterio fight in months.
Yeah, so last night he was actually practicing the Mysterio run, and a lot of times he would get grabbed by Mysterio, which is like a 4-second time loss. So that was a huge time save, just getting a really clean Mysterio run.
clean this place up too.
So another thing too, like I've been practicing this run kind of like off and on for about 2 months, hoping to try and get my world record down. But the unfortunate part is because of like the way that this run works,
I'm already
like okay.
So-
Like the difficulty of this run makes it has made it really hard to PB. So like I'm not trying to get a world record today,
generators.
but
They'll have to go.
like despite being in those moments where I'm at like the top of my form, I could still just not PB.
So could you explain why with the last generators you were shooting them with your impact webs and it was exploding just with one shot, and these ones you're punching them?
So
I like the concrete, the dripping water.
for some reason the game made these generators like stronger.
This is it.
And I don't know why, but if I were to use my impact webs, it would still be one shot on each side. And so I punch them instead of using the impact webs, just so that way I can save some webbing before going into the last couple of fights.
So yeah, here he's making it into what can be considered the final boss fight.
Put someone's eye out with that.
There are multiple fights inside this room, and then he's got one final run that he has to escape from the final boss, and then that'll be the end of the run.
Feeling somebody doesn't want me
Yeah,
here.
so we've only got, I don't know, a couple minutes.
The heating bill for this place must be enormous.
I want to say like 10-ish minutes,
switch
depending
to
on
the
RNG, maybe less than that. It's kind of hard to tell. But, so my estimate for this is, oh wow, this says 45. Okay, I thought my estimate was 55. Okay, that's fine. So this level is called Stopping the Fog.
Weird.
So that gas thing that was below us, that's actually like this really weird, like, I don't know if it's toxic fog, but either way, it's bad juju. And we're going to stop the fog by clogging the pipes and blowing everything up. This is sort of like tackling the, destroy the evil lair kind of part of the job. Oh yeah, and our good friend Black Cat got kidnapped. During the Rhino fight, like right before the Rhino fight, there's a cutscene where she gets wailed in the back with Rhino's horn, and she ends up, rather than being taken to an ambulance,
You got it. I'll be back.
she actually gets kidnapped by the evil people. And so now we're into the first of the last three boss segments, and shocker to everybody, as we all know, Dr. Otto Octavius, otherwise known as Doc Ock, was actually the mastermind behind everything.
I need to find some way to drop
So much, and he stole his own device to frame me
yes.
because
Drawing power from
reasons.
his, but I still need to draw
So
more power.
what we're gonna be doing here is we're gonna be hitting these buttons that say on to turn the shield on, and the shield, once the shield is all the way on, Doc Ock will be incapacitated, in which we can beat the schnoz out of him. I don't know if I will get a one cycle. I'm not expecting to get a one cycle just because the fight is super hard.
Uh-oh. Looks like his shield is
Oh, that was actually so
Super
close to a
close.
one cycle. To give you guys a good idea to how hard the one cycle is, I one cycled him almost a year ago at another marathon, and haven't done it since.
Well, and it's like a 10-second time save, more if
More than 10. It's like 20. Actually, I think it's closer to like 30 or 40. But since picking up no skips, I have not one cycled him. But all things considered, even though I didn't get the one cycle, that was still a really good fight. So we've got one more fight, and then we've got one more swing section, and this fight is Carnage, and Carnage is it's easy enough concept because all we have to do is throw him in that sonic bubble, and then spam our impact webs for a while, and we just kind of let his health drain. But the fight, as easy as that was, Wednesday night, I couldn't do it for the life of me.
Very good Venom Fight.
And that's the Carnage fight.
Or Carnage Fight, excuse me.
So we got one more level left in the run. So time will be coming up in a couple minutes. So basically what happens is we beat Carnage, but the Carnage symbiote goes onto Doc Ock and makes Monster Ock. And also like our little like everything exploding, yeah, that starts happening now. And so rather than trying to fight Monster Ock, we just are gonna run. So this is a lot of, like, the biggest thing I want to do is not stick on the walls. I don't necessarily need to worry too much. Like, if I can, like, cancel my swings in proper timing to carry momentum, that's really good. But majority of this is just me trying to avoid sticking on the walls.
Keep swinging, Spidey.
Yeah, if you get stuck on the walls, it's very easy to get caught by Monster Ock here, and that's a huge time loss.
If I were to get caught by Monster Ock, that would be, especially with how far we're into the level already, that'd be at least a minute.
Stay away from me. Getting closer to the surface. Level 3. 2 more to go.
So here he's come to the last few levels. It's very repetitive as he gets to the straight. He does a few swings here, and then he turns. A few swings, and he turns, goes straight up.
Back off.
And then, yeah, so I don't push R2 when I'm zipping up to the ceiling. I actually push R1. That's like my like web zip button, I guess you could say.
There he's stuck on the wall a little bit. We
And
saw how
that
close
specifically
Monster Ock
puts me
got.
up to the ceiling.
Level 1. On the home
So
stretch.
time is going to be coming up here in just a little bit. Time.
That was a flawless run.
That's a world record, baby. 41:19. I PB'd by a minute and 40 seconds, I think.
You've got to be kidding.
So yeah.
Perfect day.
Oh gosh, yeah. That was Spider-Man no skips. Oh yeah, Captain America comes and saves our lives.
It's a good thing Black Cat gave me a call. Looks like just in
So, yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. A couple of quick shout-outs. Shout-outs to Bonetooth for tagging along with me on this trip and doing commentary. It was awesome. Shout-outs to my mom, and I'm going to quote my good friend Metro, but shout-outs to my mom, because without her, I wouldn't be here, and I mean that in the most literal sense possible. Just thanks, Mom, for all the support and everything. You're amazing. Shout-outs to my dad as well for all of his support. Shout-outs to my brother Lil Dog for getting me into speedrunning. About end of 2017 was when I started, and without him encouraging me to try this out, I wouldn't be here. Shout-outs to GSA for putting on this event and letting me come here. This has been an awesome event. And my final shout-outs to my org Disconnect for all their support, and then shout-outs to Midwest Speedfest back home. The reason why I'm shouting you guys out is because when I got accepted, I didn't think I was going to be able to come because of money, because I'm a broke college kid. But through some fundraising, Midwest Speedfest helped fund about $800 for my trip out here, which wasn't 100% funding, but without that, I wouldn't have been able to come out here and showcase this run. And so shout-outs to you guys. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. That will conclude it from me. Thank you guys again, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of PACE.